Mikee P back on the Money Players podcast for another racing weekend. Racing at Churchill Saturday, May 30th. Stephen Foster preview weekend. Who knows Kentucky racing better than Chris Cupples? And Chris is back. He's been kind of off the free side for a little bit, but he shows up on the Inner Circle shows. And Chris, you're always grinding. You're in there watching races every weekend, and we talk every day. So welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to stay pretty consistent. I don't want to miss opportunity. It seems like you skip a day or skip a week, and then you look back at results to fill in information like, oh, I was going to bet this horse, and you missed it. So I try not to miss too much.
Well, this show is brought to you by the Kentucky Thoroughbred Development Fund, and of course, they're raising those purses in Kentucky to absolute stellar levels. The racing in Kentucky is fantastic. All these circuits going. And Chris, I know you're a huge fan of Kentucky racing. You even got into some turfway this year, and for you, I mean that was a big jump.
Yeah, Jackson kind of pushed me on that a little bit, and I grew to love it. And in Kentucky, the purses just keep going higher and higher for Kentucky breds. I know you can race your New York bred here, your California bred here, but you do get a little cut off the top if you're not a Kentucky bred. So they really give extra benefit for breeding in Kentucky, and there's racing year round at one of four tracks, and it's pretty lucrative and just keeps getting more and more lucrative.
Absolutely, and then these purses at Turfway and Kentucky Downs. I mean, we got that approaching. You have Ellis Park and, of course, Churchill Downs with all their stakes showing up this weekend. The Derby's long past now, but we're looking forward to Stephen Foster, Chris, and this is the preview weekend for that. I mean, I know the Foster's coming up ultra tough. Some of the big names we won't see this weekend, but some of these horses that show up in this card are no slouches.
Yeah, I think it's a very good card. These are generally the cards I like better than the big name card. Everybody's going to talk about it, and it's going to be the Foster's going to be great. You're going to have 4 mega stars, older horses, and I have no idea which one to win. Here I can find value, and so to me, I will hit this harder probably than I will Stephen Foster did.
Yeah, and you might even jump into some contests. You got your Twin Spires hat on. I'm sure the Twin Spires contest this weekend for looking to jump into that Stephen Foster main contest on Stephen Foster Day. That's a $3,500 contest. I think there's a $600 qualifier this weekend, Chris. And usually if there's a contest, you're jumping in.
Yeah, I've already got 2 entries for this weekend's contest. And, of course, there'll be cash games on the side, too. You can kind of, leverage your opinion against each other. Or unlike most, sometimes if I have a strong opinion, I'll just play every contest with the same opinion. If I'm right, great. If I'm wrong, I just look like I don't have any sense and just all in one spot.
Yeah, but I mean, that lends itself to big days too when you are right.
Yes.
And you have huge days. There's no when Chris is right. He's scooping every contest. He's not messing around. So we're going to look at the stakes races on this card for Saturday at Churchill. And the first stakes race on the card, well, the first graded race, let's put it that way. A couple other listed stakes on the card, but first graded race is the Grade 2 Shawnee Stakes. Now, this is 4-year-old equivalent up. They're going a mile and a 16th. And Chris, it starts the Derby City Stakes, which we're not really playing a lot of pick sixes at Churchill, but certainly they get some big pulls. You have the return of Splendora. Usha came back it was Monday to win for Baffert. Splendora's back after her dud in the Derby City Distaff. Going a mile and a 16th. Do you like her in this spot, or are you trying to maybe fade?
I'm definitely going to use them. I've always liked this mare. She's got older. She does have to prove herself around 2 turns. And last time, she just was pretty bad. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. She ran horrible at even money. I wonder, this is going to come up in these late races a few times, if these Baffert runners that disappointed last time are making their second start at Churchill since he seemed to kind of move his barn out here, or a majority of his barn, if they pick up and run better, like you mentioned, Usha, and I know there's been a couple, but when you look at the horses he ran at Churchill since the meet started, he's only had a couple winners that ran first time at the meet. A lot of them ran pretty bad. So I'm curious to keep up with that and see how these ones of Baffert's making their second start of the meet run. And it'll start with Splendora. I'm not gonna throw her out. That would just be silly. I bet her at Breeders' Cup. I do like her more in the one-turn category, but she's talented. She's a big mare. She went a mile and 1/8 and got beat by Seismic Beauty by 5, and that was as a 3-year-old, or no, she was 4. I'm sorry. So she can get the 2 turns. It's just a matter if she can compete with these as she's grown and got older. I like Majestic Oops. Will probably be a B. I know you're going to be high on that one. I'll probably use that horse as a B and just look at Splendora and Immersive as A's here.
Yeah, and Immersive. Tough to fault that one. I know champion 2-year-old filly. She's been lightly raced, but never been out of the exacta. They certainly picked their spots though after that 2-year-old year, and she ended up in the coaching club whenever she was 3, and then just a listed stake, a grade 3 to come back at 7 furlongs. She's going to take money. You get IRAD now. What kind of trip do you think she gets? Because I do think that Splendora's going to want to go. Immersive's probably want to be close. She typically runs. She can run either way, but in this post, doesn't she want to go forward here?
I think she does when you first look at it, but with IRAD on, that tells me they're not sending. IRAD's not going to send a horse out there, especially when he has an outside post. I think he will set and stalk 1 or 2 back, or he may be up pressing a little bit. I think the main thing that will come into play is how much speed comes from the inside and how much they press the issue. Miss Justify could be a dead sin from the inside. And Splendora, of course, is going to show speed. I don't know what they'll do with Jin Jin if they choose to use the speed for Louis on. She has plenty to give. It's just a matter of who's going to press the issue early. So I think Irad could end up in the catbird seat sitting outside.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I like Majestic Hoops because I just think she's in a stellar form right now. She won the Azeri. Watch that replay back now. It was a sloppy track on March the 7th, but she raced extremely well in there. And that was a step up off the listed win on February. Maybe she just likes Oaklawn's racetrack, but she's raced here before and finished 2nd. The Apple Blossom, nobody was beating Claire Beret in there. And that's unfortunate. She's no longer, with us. And she got beat by Nitrogen. Well, those are 2 really top class grade 1 horses. Now she's back in here and she gets to face Splendora coming off a dud. She gets Immersive, who's been managed with kid gloves. So, and I do think she kind of gets the right trip. There's enough speed for her to set up that sort of stalking type run. So I do like her. There's another one in here, Chris, the 2 Take Charge Omaha. We know where she's going to be. She's going to be out the back and trying to make one big late run. You can actually get shares of her on morningline.io. I know that they're partners with us. There's several horses on this card here that you can be a part of with Morning Line. And I know that you're a part of Morning Line also. Talk about Take Charge Omaha. Do you think she might have a puncher's chance to catch? And just a little bit about Morning Line, because I know you're involved in that too.
Yeah, Take Charge Omaha's nice, and she's gonna be the one that can pick up the pieces as it falls apart. This will be her 3rd start off the layoff here, has plenty of room to improve. If you get on Morning Line and buy you a share or 2 and she wins here, that's going to go up immediately. I have forgotten the name of the filly I have of Kenny McPeaks that won an Oaks prep in Fairgrounds, but I bought shares of that filly for like $6, and I think they're on there now at $40, $45 or something.
I think it was taken by the wind.
Yes, it was taken by the wind.
Yes, she's available for $41.45 right now. So
I was in at $6.
Yeah, so you can buy low, and you can see how these shares go up. A couple other horses on the card available at Morning Line, so it's a big day for them. If you go to look in race number 4, a horse I liked on Derby weekend, Miss Call is back. Now she's 31 Morning Line. I really liked her in that 1X there on Oaks Day, and there was some thought that she might have bled in that spot. So you can have Miss Call, and there's also a horse making the 2nd time start in Victory Corps in race number 3. Another one that's pretty low priced. Ken McPeak trains, and I do think that one has a puncher's chance, maybe to break the maiden, going a mile and 1/8, and is bred to maybe get that distance. So just a couple Morning Line horses if you're interested. Be in the market for some ownership shares, stock market for horses. Go to morningline.io if you're interested there. Well, Chris, I think we're done with race number 6. Let's move on to race number 7. It starts to pick 5 on Saturday at Churchill. We're going to the grass, a mount of 16th, grade 3 man Julep. Again, older fillies and mares. And I like Madero in here. I know that the Jenny Wiley's a little bit of a sore subject for you, so I won't make you relive that race, but she was right there near the finish with 2 top ones, and I think that she beats these horses. But the only other horse I could maybe use is Pin Up Betty. Thought she raced pretty well in the Distaff Turf Mile on Derby Day. Classic Q got her trip, and she was able to, when she gets by herself, she gets very brave. And that's what happened on Derby Day. Pinup Betty raced well. She closed up to be third, but wasn't catching the top two. Who do you like in here?
I like Pinup Betty a lot. Makes her third start off the bench. She's 4 for 8 over this turf course, which includes a win in this race last year. Now, that race was a bit softer. She didn't have to face the competition she does today. And Proctor Street, who's one I've always thought has had talent, might be a step below Pinup Betty and Medora. Proctor Street's still looking for that graded stakes win. Medora might be a unicorn on a ship from the West Coast and has had success, on this side of the country, winning at Fairgrounds 2-back, and then finished behind Expensive Queen at Fairgrounds, who I like a lot, then finished behind Expensive Queen in Sagasta in the dead heat that I'm clearly over, that did not completely screw me, that nobody's giving an exclamation for, that I would have won the Grade 1 gamble with potentially. But I'm over that. It's okay. So I'm using the 3 and 4 and 5 pretty much equally. I might fade the 5 a little bit to a B.
Mm-hmm. Any love for In the Stars in here? The 7, a horse that I thought maybe could be a price lock. Had some graded lines at 3. Maybe wasn't quite to that level. Has to come off Lasix, but the horse that she beat last time came back to gallop here. So I thought that was a nice win. Maybe just getting a little better at 4. Has to come off Lasix. There's questions, but you are going to get a price here.
She's all right. I think she's a step behind these.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted an allowance optional race May 16th that came off the turf and scratched. So I'm wondering if this was just kind of a backup plan. Let's try this since we came off the turf in the softer spot we wanted. She is tactical and drawn toward the outside, so it wouldn't totally shock me, but I will not be using her.
Race 8, Grade 3, Aristides. They're going 6 furlongs here. This is a nice little race, and Durante back in here has won this race in the past. The only win over the Churchill Downs surface. Won last time, though, at Aqueduct, and this one just finds a way to grind out wins. I do think, though, has to, deal with a roll on Big Joe, Cornucopian. Who you like?
Durante, Jacobson, of course, his horses can win any time, but they don't win often back-to-back. He would be the least of the ones I want. And if anyone can come up with a solid pick in here, you'd have a big advantage over myself. I can make the case for about everyone in here. Madhouse is very, very quick out of the gate. Paco's aboard, so if he gets loose on the rail, he showed last time with roll on Big Joe to his outside that he can turn one away and stay on. Cornucopian, highly talented. Here we are again on the maybe we need one at Churchill. So Cornucopian can obviously win. I don't know how I could leave it out. Especially if I see in the race we talked about already with Baffert's horse with Splendora, if she comes back and runs huge, then I would have to use Roland Big Joe. He's classy, shows up every time. There's a lot of speed in here, but he can set off, or even when there's speed, he kind of hangs on. Matic Road ran huge last time. Has to do it without Lasix today. Tejano Twist can pick up pieces. Gold Sweep's been one that's proven dangerous, especially when he's drawn outside like he is today. I'm hoping some come out of this so I can play this late pick 5 more efficiently, but I just about have to use everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm hoping you or Jackson or somebody can convince me on one to lean on.
My thing on Cornucopian is he gets back to 6 furlongs, and that blowout win first time out, going 6, that jumps off the page. That was his best race, and now he's been kind of messing around, going 7. They tried him on the Derby Trail for a minute. If he gets back to that form, and you get Pratt now, I do think that this is a good jockey switch. He's ultra interesting, especially if he can deal with Madhouse. That's the horse that I really don't know what to do with, because the horse just keeps surprising, right? I mean, just found a way to win at Philly 23-1, and shows up at Oaklawn after a nice optional win at Tampa, and ended up running 102 buyers. So I don't know. I do think that this horse could do it either way, but maybe the 2 is the best horse at this distance. So I would obviously the 1, the 3 can win, like you mentioned, but I probably would be the 2, then maybe the 3. I could see backing up if you're looking for a closer with the 5 because there is a lot of speed. It's a really nice horse. I've cashed money on him. I just think that maybe his Oaklawn form is better than anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree. He's been an Oaklawn horse for sure. He is really cool horse. I love the fact that he, won the Whitmore in Whitmore fashion. I always liked this horse, but like you said, most of his big wins have come at Oaklawn.
Race 9, grade 3, Regret. 3-year-old fillies now on the grass. Mount and 8th, and you've been buzzing about Indigo Woods in the group chat. So tell me what you like about this one.
Yeah, I've always liked this filly. She won her debut here at Churchill after being an AE at Keeneland. Tyler was named that day, and then when she came to Churchill for the debut, he chose to ride a filly he had been riding that had some more experience, and she went off at some massive price. I remember hitting her that day. I just don't remember how much I got her for. Then she shipped to Fairgrounds, won fairly easy. Last time she got hung, 3 wide, just wasn't the ideal trip by any circumstances. I'm going to make her a lone A, and if I play a late pick 5, I will single here. If you're spreading past that, I think Faithful Depart is a horse that's always needed more ground and gets that today. Has yet to do any running without Lasix. A couple of times she's ran without Lasix. When the running started, she didn't do much of it. And then Tam Tam's going to be loose from the outside. I thought she responded well in the Edgewood when asked, just simply got out finished. And as we've seen with turf racing lately, everybody wants to grab. And when you let somebody get loose, they're always going to be dangerous. But Indigo Woods drawn inside now, I think can set 2 or 3 back, get the trip. And this will be my strongest play of the day, more likely.
Yeah, Tam Tam, interesting junior ride there on Oaks Day on this horse. Typically, that's not his game to jump to the front like he did. And she certainly battled. I thought she raced really, really well and got tracked down by a really nice horse last time. So now, could she bounce off of that? Maybe. But like you mentioned, she is loose in here. The 8's certainly not going to get in her way early. I don't think the 7 is really wanting any part of her. I don't think she's fast enough. So she's my top pick. And really, if she repeats that race, she's probably going to win this race because she does have a pace advantage here. I like your 1. I think would be a use on tickets. And then I don't think you can leave Safi off anything right now, honestly. I mean, his barn he's winning big races. And the 6, Dan Donna, is one that didn't really race very well, but had a little trouble on Oaks Day in the Edgewood. Prior to that, won the Florida Oaks from off the pace at Tampa. Not easy to do. Not easy to make that big late move. Now, do a little bit of setup. Irad shows up here now. This horse proved without Lasix. Probably needs a trip. Probably is going to have to come from the back, but it's just one of those things that I don't want to leave him off because his horses are running, and I would probably use that one. More of a B, but I go 9, 1, maybe a little 6.
Yeah, I can see it, but Safi and turf routes outside of Gulfstream is just not something he does very well. And maybe this is the one. I think we'll get overbet with Irad. Will be a toss for me. If you use and she wins, I'll be cheering you on.
Going to race 10, the grade 3 Blame Stakes. And now we have the older horses going a mile and 8th. Here's your prep for the Stephen Foster. Don't see the big names. No Sovereignty, no White Barrio in here, no journalism. All expected to show up for the big dance, but you have Hit Show, who's only made $9.4 million, showing up in here. You have horses like Rattle and Roll, who's made close to $4 million and has raced well over this racetrack. They're closers though, Chris. So does the 8 stay in? Because I was seeing that the 8 might scratch in here. Vibe, who won on Derby Day, and a 2X. That one's sort of loose in here if it stays, right?
It is loose, but I don't see how anyone could bet this horse at 9-5. And I've said it time and time again on these airways. When I question Nick Tamara, more times than not, he proves to be right and I am wrong. But this horse is going to be going over 8 furlongs for the first time. Has to do it without Lasix. I just don't see how Hit Show don't go off paper. I read his own Hit Show today. His resume, he's the class of the field. He's done it here at Churchill. That would be my top pick. I would have to use Rattle and Roll. He's 4 for 11 at Churchill, 5 for 16 at the distance. And when he shows up, he can run. And yes, he will come from off the pace, but there's a scenario where they go so slow here but they invite everybody in, and then you got to outfinish horses like Hit Show and Rattle and Roll. If I played a large multi-race ticket, I would use the 8, but from a betting standpoint, I just want to toss the 8 out from the beginning.
Now, Chris, what happens if the 8 comes out of this race? Because then the pace really kind of turns on its head. I mean, who goes? Does Capital Idea go? I mean, he's sort of a sneaky, horse in the race. Hall of Fame maybe has shown some speed in the past. It gets very murky.
I think if the 8 comes out, then the scenario I mentioned really does happen. I think unless someone decides, okay, I'm just going to dead sin and try to run them off their feet, which we rarely see these days, I think it'll go really slow and invite everybody in. Mm-hmm. And if you let Hit Show set 1 or 2 lengths off of you from the start, you're not beating.
Yeah, too much class, likes the track. Yeah, just it's going to be tough for him to outfinish him. So I like him, and I do think that he, is the one that is, I think, the most likely winner. If I were to try a sneaky one, maybe Capital Idea would be one I would try. I really had no chance in the mix go. I know this horse needs to class up here, but has a little bit of speed. Did show some speed there at Gulfstream on March 28th. I do think probably needs to get a little better to beat these, and the 8 would probably have to come out for him to have a chance. It's just one of those sneaky ones, the 10-1 morning line. I mean, things happen on these big days like this, especially days this is a prep day, right? I mean, this is a day that this isn't the big money. Horses want to win, but the big money is coming in a few weeks. So when you get these prep races, sometimes you can get some goofy results.
Yeah, that's true. But when it comes to Brad Cox, when he puts one in, no matter if it's a 10 claimer or a grade 1, he's expecting to win. And anything less than a win for him is a disappointment. I could make a strong case for singling Hit Show. And if I look in the double pool and I can get Indigo Woods in the Hit Show at a decent price, I'll hit that pretty hard.
Yeah, that'll be Chris's contest play probably for Saturday, especially if it lines up the way it is. Race 11 to finish all your late sequences, to finish your late contest plays to the grass. Grade 3 Arlington Stakes. Mount is 16th. Chris, how are we going to get paid?
I would use the 3, 9, and 10 as A's, and I might Dutch them 3 in some exactas with a little Minaret Station in the mix too. But the 3 Laganos, the horse should be coming in, winning 3 straight. Quattrocento will be on the lead, and this horse is dangerous. And I do wonder last time if Nibago wasn't in there and just didn't dead sin from the start, and Quattrocento kind of had to let that one go, shift outside, use up some energy going down the backstretch to get the lead. If Quattrocento wouldn't have had just an extra little kick to hold Laganos and chasing the crown off. So I would not leave him off your tickets. And I've heard people say, oh, he's done good at Gulfstream, blah, 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 blah. Well, he does good when he gets the right race dynamics, and he could get it here today. The 10 Brilliant Birdie is 5 for 6 at Churchill, 3rd off the bench. Last time, this horse ran 5th to what I think is probably the 4 best turf route horses that have ran in America in the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. So gets some pretty big class relief here. And then Minaret Station with 2 for 3 as a 2-year-old. Will have to scratch out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile in 24 and come back. Only made 1 start last year in 25. Ran well versus these last time off that extended break. It's hard not to use this one on a multi-race ticket.
Yeah, I agree. I have that one in the mix also. Agree. I mean, obviously, Laganos is the horse to beat. Really, I didn't think I had any business winning last time and just found the way to win. And I thought Quattrocento should have finished that off. And maybe, you're right. Maybe it was just a little bit too much. And the pace figures kind of support that theory. It's just, again, when you open up like that, it's hard to get tracked down, and this horse is 0 for 3 at this racetrack, so there's that going. And I think there's enough speed in here also. The 8's probably going to go in here. I don't know what the 11's going to do. The 7 Mercanti, he gets a little bit of a drop. He likes to be forward. There's other speed in here to kind of mix things up. So I agree on the 3. I agree on the 6. I can see how do you leave the 10 off tickets really? Back to Churchill, gets a drop, 3rd back. I mean, this is now or never time, right? I mean, this is the time you want to get this horse in. He's not going to be favored. He's going to be that 4, 5, 6 to 1 in this race too. Any love for Colt Battle at all? Or you just think he's a dirt horse? Like, what's he even doing enter here? Is they doing a rain dance there? What are they doing, Chris?
I've always liked Cold Battle. I honestly don't know why he's in here. And if I was going to try the turf, I'd be trying to find a little easier spot.
Yeah.
I will leave him off my tickets, but if he wins, he's the unknown variable in the race. That you say, yeah, I should have used this horse because he never done it before and he liked it. But I will leave him off. And one thing I will say, if you wanted to downgrade Quattrocento, you could watch this week, see how this turf course is. I know they call it firm every day, but there's no way this course is firm. I believe Jose said it when he got off the other day, that he had some give in it. So if it comes up and it looks like it's, there's a little cut in the ground, you can downgrade Quattrocento because he likes it hard and hears feet rattle.
Mm-hmm. Well, Chris, always good to have you. We got stellar card at Churchill. Stephen Foster preview weekend. The Foster card itself is going to be fantastic, but all these horses are getting ready. Most of them will probably, especially the horses that do well, will show up a couple weeks from now for that big day. I'm sure you're going to be jumping in contests. And of course, we thank the KTDF for sponsoring us once again.
Yep. Good luck, everyone.
This has been a production of In the Money Media. Get in on Churchill on Saturday. Jump in these contests. We'll see you next time.